What's up, guys? Did you miss me? Well, cry no more and wipe those tears away, because today we're going to be going over Jedi Fallen Order. So if you guys don't remember how this is going to work out, is that I'm going to cover traversal, combat, and then lastly cinematics. So let's jump right into it. We're going to get into traversal. So with traversal, we got our core animations, our walk, our run, our jump, and our idle, and then I'm going to cover additional animations as well. So right into our walk. One thing I like about this walk that I haven't noticed with other walks, and something you can actually incorporate into your walk cycles, is that I know it's a walk cycle. I know both sides are going to be, copy and paste. But the one thing I like is the little foot. His right foot breaks up that monotony. And what I mean by that is that it's slightly tilted out as opposed to his left foot, which is straight up. If you look at his walk, it's a fairly confident walk. One thing I would have liked to have done is analyze him becoming a Jedi, or once he becomes a Jedi, prior to him becoming a Jedi. See if they actually switch up the animation or his walk cycle there, where, once he becomes a Jedi, he's walking up front, upright, and he's more confident, as opposed to, when you start out the game. One thing I like about this is that it's loose and limber, right? As a Jedi, I'm sure you got to be loose and limber to do all those gymnastics and lightsaber battles and everything. There's more rotation on the Z-axis. If you notice, he's going more of side to side. It gives us this goofy but confident, upbeat walk to it. And I like it. It fits his character very well. So now let's get into the run cycle. With this run, it's a very regular, standard run. One thing I do love that they've incorporated is his hair, right? I love the fact that whether he's walking or whether he's running, whether he's sprinting, there's this nice overlap of his hair. And in addition to that, the jacket that he has. Even with the little droid that he has, there's so much going on that keeps the character alive. And I really love that. One thing, a little nitpick, I would like to see a little more overlap in the cords of the jacket. A little more, some overlap and drag to it, but that's just nitpicky. This now leads us to our sprint. I have to say, I love the sprint. I just do. It's one of my favorite sprints, probably, I would say, of the year, okay? Because you look at him starting his sprint. He bends so far over that, if he were to hit a rock, even a twig, he would completely fall over. Obviously, if this wasn't a game. But it signals the sprint in such an aggressive and just easy, readable manner to the player. One thing I like is his shoulder movement. His shoulders are they're really going up. I'm not sure if there's some stretching behind the scenes, but it really sells like he is really hustling. Once again, the hair, really nice. The overlap of the hair lets us know that he's really hauling butt. Next up is our jump. One thing I don't get about this jump is the hands. His hands just go up. For whatever reason. I don't understand that, because if you do any other type of jump, like if you run and jump, if you tap jump, he does this little bunny hop of a jump, and his hands are they're out in front, but they're not straight up over his head like he's saying hallelujah. I don't understand why they did it, because it only happens if you just stand still, if you jump in place, right? If you're jumping forward, jumping backward, his hands going to, the custom position that you expect to see in a jump. But in this straight up, I don't, it doesn't make any sense. Now, I will say, a little side note on the jump. One thing that irritated me was this horrible jump animation, or whatever's going on here, right? It's during one of the later levels where he jumps on this plant. And you jump on this plant, jumps, it's like a spring, essentially. But the thing is, you don't feel the spring, right? You do feel, however, there's a great recovery animation, but when you jump on it, I don't feel like he's really getting, pushed up, or there's any type of squash. There's not a lot of squash in that movement. I wish they could have added that in there, because it just feels dead. So last up, we have our idle animation. And one thing I gotta say, his character, it's always active. Whether it's his hands that are constantly moving, just a subtle little drag on his arms that, just keeps it alive. And even if his whole body were to just go stiff, you have the droid on his back. So no matter what's going on, this character is alive. Now you have your standard, you have your weight shifts. He does a hands on hips pose. He even does some stretching. But my favorite, I gotta say, my favorite idle animation in the game is when he brushes through his hair. He brushes through his hair. Now they have another animation where he scratches his head. But where he brushes through his hair, it's just classic. It reminds me of like Fabio or something. It's hilarious for me. This now leads us to our climbing animation. Well, at least one of them. In this climb animation, in order to climb, you have to hit a button. But he hits like this really super heroic pose, and I don't get it because it's so awkward. It feels like an ugly duckling out of all the animation, out of all the posing. To be honest with you, I mean, it's a great pose, right? It's a great silhouette. I mean, it's easily readable, but it's just so awkward. I'm just like, it feels like this pose should be in a different game besides, a Star Wars game. That's just me. But when it comes to the climbing animations, I mean, it's no, let's just say it's no Uncharted. I mean, they do the bare minimum and whatnot. There's nothing really to write home about on this one. So when it comes to our climbing animation, it's a fairly standard climbing animation. One thing I do like is the bicycle motion of the legs that are out in front. It's a great contrast between, let's say, a climbing animation of like Uncharted, where his legs are out behind him. I really like that. This now brings up our additional animations. Next up is the swimming animation. It's a good animation, nothing crazy. Obviously, the character, for the majority of the game is not going to be swimming. This isn't a swimming game, but they do have it. One little nitpick about this swimming animations is that I wish the hands were out in front, right? And they were cupping the water and moving it out the way. And it's barely any extension. And he's just doing like, I don't know, it looks like a T-Rex move where just cups the water out. I wish they were just a little bit higher. That's the only little, pet peeve thing I have about this. Other than that, the flutter kick animation is nice. I think that's a cool little animation, even though it's very limited, but it's nice nonetheless. This now leads us into our meat and potatoes of the game, and that is combat. And boy, oh boy, one of the most fun I've had in this game is just opening the lightsaber. I know it may be dumb, but for me, it is so much fun just opening the lightsaber. I just feel like a badass, right? Just whether it's the single lightsaber or the dual lightsaber, it's just great. And if you look at the posing of both of them, the posing of this character is flawless. I mean, it's a great silhouette. You read it instantly. Now they even go so far as, when you do the single lightsaber, if you look at his legs, it seems like his weight is slightly shifted on more on the right side. Now when you do the dual lightsaber, or the double lightsaber, I'm not sure what it's called, his legs open up a little wider, right, to balance him out, and his cog is more in the center of gravity. I love that it's just those little details that really make this great. Now, when it comes to the 3-hit combo, when it comes to the 3-hit attack, I prefer the single lightsaber attack more because it's just more dynamic, right? There's a lot more going on. The poses are stronger. They read easily. The silhouette, everything is just stronger with the single lightsaber as opposed to the dual lightsaber. Now, I will say there is a cool transition from the single to the dual or double lightsaber, which I thought was really cool. I wish they could have added that into the 3-hit attack of the double lightsaber, but it is what it is. Now, one cool little side note is that if you're ever in combat and you're trying to sheath your lightsaber, retract it, that the game won't allow you to do it. That instead it does this little cool spin animation with both of the lightsabers. I thought that was really cool. Last up, we have the cinematics, and I have to say the cinematics are great, man. The level of detail into the characters, it's actually great. It's a lot of eye candy going on, especially when you get some of the lightsaber battles and stuff like that. I don't have anything to complain about when it comes to the cinematics. I think this is going to be a standard moving forward when we get our next generation of consoles. I think the cinematics are going to be breathtaking. Anyways, guys, that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I thought the game and the animations are great. A few little nitpicks here and there. Let me know what you guys think. But until next time, keep animating.